Over the past few decades, Peru experienced a lot of political turmoil and even terrorism, but the issues behind this upheaval have largely been resolved, and in the last decade, Peru has made huge progress towards a complete recovery. Today, we are experiencing strong economic growth, and consequently, in the past few years, the numbers of expat families coming to live in Peru has increased considerably. This has had positive effects on the country's economy, but has also caused property prices to increase about 30% over the last 5 years. It has also caused limited vacancies in the country's private schools. About 90% of the expat families coming to Peru live in Lima, the capital, which is on the west coast of Peru on the Pacific Ocean. And although Lima occupies 3% of the country's territory, it contains more than 30% of the country's total population. The other 10% of expat families are mainly relocating to Cajamarca, Huaraz, and Arequipa in the mountains of Peru, where there are many mining projects. Even though Lima has 49 districts, only 4 or 5 of them are usually selected by expats. The Miraflores district on the west coast of Lima has beautiful apartments overlooking the ocean, but very few houses available for rent. It is close to Barranco, another district with nice apartments. So for families who want to be close to the ocean, these two locations are the best options. The only inconvenience is that it's very humid and foggy during the winter season. San Isidro is the area most requested by the expat community. It has very nice modern buildings surrounded by parks, a nice private golf course, many restaurants, supermarkets, banks, and everything you need within walking distance. So it's the most expensive district in Lima, but it's also really beautiful. Many apartments are available in these areas. The rents could range between $2,000 to $6,000, but the average price is like $3,500. And for that amount, you can find a very nice modern apartment with 3 bedrooms. If we talk about 4-bedroom apartments, that's more difficult to find, and the prices are higher. It is very difficult to find single-family houses in these areas. Surco is east of Miraflores and San Isidro, and it has the advantage of being the location of the only American international school, as well as the American Embassy. There are also nice apartments in the area of Los Incas Golf and Chacaria, which are good options and not as expensive as San Isidro. There are some houses for rent in this area, but they are usually around 10 or 20 years old. And last is La Molina, in the eastern district of Lima, which has many houses of all sizes, new, old, with big and small yards, furnished and unfurnished. The weather is not as humid in this area of Lima, and that is also an advantage. It is very difficult to find apartments in this district, but as mentioned, there are plenty of houses in gated communities and secure areas. The only problem with La Molina is the traffic congestion, which can make it difficult to get from there to San Isidro, where many multinational companies are located. A main challenge of housing is that the realtor market is mainly informal, and you can have 4 or 5 realtors who are listing and showing the same properties. Each realtor may list it for a different price, and that makes it very confusing for expats. Also, web pages showing properties are not always updated, and you might see a nice property on the internet, but when you go to visit it, you realize that the picture was taken many years ago. Security in Lima has improved considerably. It is now much safer than other big cities in Latin America, so security should not be a major concern for an expat family. Even though security is much less of a concern than in the past, many multinational companies do require a security inspection of the property before they approve the lease, but not all landlords are willing to implement the security measures suggested. Most of the leases signed require payment in US dollars for a 1-year period that can be renewed. A 1-month payment in advance and 2-month security deposit is very common and must be paid when you sign the lease. Expat families are fairly affluent, so the process is usually to sign the lease, then pay the first month's rent and the deposit. This needs to be done as quickly as possible because it's highly likely that the property will be taken by someone else if there are any delays. One of the concerns in this process is that most companies don't allow their expats to sign a lease until their visas are approved. However, they often come to Peru to house hunt before the visa approval process has finished, and if they see a property they like, they will unfortunately lose it due to the wait. The other major issue is the funds needed to pay the advance payment and security deposit, because if the expat isn't yet on the Peruvian payroll, they won't have the money to pay the rent. In that case, the money has to be wired from abroad, and that process sometimes delays the signing of the lease. So we strongly recommend in these cases that either their local company sign the lease, or if that is not possible, they should come for their house hunting trip after their visas have been approved. It's important to mention that if an employee is signing the lease, many landlords will request a guarantee letter from their employer. There is only one international school in Lima, and that is the Roosevelt School. It's the only American school and uses the American calendar, so the demand for placement in this school is very high. Parents should contact the school as soon as they know they are coming to Peru. There are also very good British schools in Lima, but the demand for them is equally high because they are also in demand by Peruvians who want their kids to receive a total bilingual education. This is a big issue now, so school choices must be addressed as soon as the family knows they are being transferred. The quality of education is very high, and all private schools have very high standards. We always recommend that parents accept being put on a waiting list, and in some cases we also recommend an alternative school for the first semester or first year until a place opens up in the school they want. Public transportation isn't recommended for expat families, but lots of taxis are available at very reasonable prices. Now, traffic congestion in Lima is a big problem, and the way Peruvians drive has become a major challenge for expats. So we always recommend to have a driver for at least the first 3 or 4 months in Peru. Then once they know the city and the rules of getting around the city, they can start driving themselves. But there are some difficulties with obtaining a driver's license that assignees need to know about. Getting a driver's license is a challenge because the process is quite bureaucratic and time-consuming. Our best recommendation is to bring their own original driver's license, an international driver's license, and a certificate stating that their driver's license has not expired. These documents will ease the process in Peru, but as I already mentioned, we recommend they delay starting it until they are used to the traffic, the rules and regulations. Many expats fail the exam because they are unaware of some of the local regulations. First, we recommend that assignees learn Spanish because that will make their lives much easier, especially spouses, because they are the ones who will be dealing with the daily errands to places where many Peruvians don't understand English. Assignees should also try to make Peruvian friends. That will help them understand the culture, enjoy the social life, practice the language, and help their kids adapt to the new environment. If they have time, we always recommend they enroll in volunteer work because there are many places that need help and support, and volunteers are welcome everywhere. They should also make it a point to travel inside the country because we have such wonderful places to visit like Machu Picchu, Cuelap, the Amazon River, museums, and we have beautiful beaches. And they should try a different restaurant every week. They will be delighted. What expats like most is our food. I have not heard of a single expat family who has not mentioned Peruvian food as being the best. You can visit a new restaurant every week and you would still end your assignment without having finished visiting them all. Peruvian gastronomy has become an icon in Latin America and is improving every day. The Cordon Bleu Institute has a very large presence in Peru with short courses on Peruvian and international gastronomy that many spouses attend. Then the second most commonly mentioned thing that people say they will miss is domestic service. You can have a maid, a nanny, a driver, a gardener, and possibly someone to take care of the pool, all for very reasonable prices. Most expats say they are spoiled by life in Peru and that they will miss all the free time they had to do things they had always wanted to do but had no time to do them. And last but not least, our people. Peruvians are very friendly, warm, and willing to help, and that is something expats value a lot. I would like to finish by sharing something sent to me by a Brazilian woman after she left Peru. I had asked her what she missed most, and she said, "Yvonne, I miss everything, even the traffic."